with a new wonder in his heart and a new flame of worship in his eyes. What high change is in thee, O Savitri! Bright ever thou wast, a goddess still and pure, yet dearer to me by thy sweet human birth. Earth gave thee, making thee yet more divine. But now thou seemst almost too high and great for mortal worship. Time lies below thy feet, and the whole world seems only a part of thee. My human earth will still demand thy bliss. Make still my life through thee a song of joy, and all my silence wide and deep with thee. All now is changed, yet all is still the same. Still am I she who came to thee mid the murmur of sunlit leaves upon this forest bird. I am the madam, I am Savitri. Let us give joy to all, for joy is ours. For not for ourselves alone our spirits came out of the veil of the unmanifest, too fast that burn towards that parent sun, two rays that travel to the original light, to lead man's soul towards truth and God. We are born to draw the checkered stream of mortal life into some semblance of the immortal plan.
Good morning. So we're approaching the end of the poem. We're in the epilogue. We've come to page 718 at the new paragraph. So Savitri has returned to her body after the deep trance that she was in which she rescued the soul of Satyavan from death. And now they woke up on the forest floor with his head in her lap, and he recovers his consciousness, and they're now conversing. And he has realized that she has saved him from death, and he is marveling at her and her greatness, her divinity. In the last section, he had spoken of this experience of going into death and about the significance of death. Maybe I'll just read a little of that at about 2/3 of the way down on 717. He said, "Where now has passed that formidable shape which rose against us, the spirit of the void, claiming the world for death and nothingness, denying God and soul." And then he says something interesting in the middle of the line there. He begins, "Or was all a dream, or a vision seen in a spiritual sleep, a symbol of the oppositions of time, or a mind-lit beacon of significance in some stress of darkness, lighting on the way, or guiding a swimmer through the straits of death, or finding with the succor of its ray in a gully mid the crowded streets of chance, the soul that into the world adventure came, a scout and voyager from eternity." So here he gives some kind of positive spin on death, I think. That perhaps it just is a symbol of the oppositions of time, or a mind-lit beacon of significance, something that is constructed by the mind, giving significance, giving meaning, in some stress of darkness, lighting on the way. So giving some significance to this passage through the darkness, on the way, on the course of time and evolution, and then changing the metaphor, or guiding a swimmer through the straits of death, or finding with the succor of its ray in a gully mid the crowded streets of chance, the soul that into the world adventure came, a scout and voyager from eternity. So as if it is even finding the soul, kind of perhaps helping through the course of its evolution, its earlier stages, that stress of darkness, finding and helping, in a sense, the soul find its way as it's kind of stumbling through the dark streets of existence, the crowded streets of chance, finding that soul that into the world adventure came, a scout and voyager from eternity. So it almost suggests something that it has a kind of positive role helping the soul find its way. And then she replies and says, our parting was the dream. We are together. We live, O Satyavan. Look round thee and behold, glad and unchanged, our home. This forest with its 1,000 cries and the whisper of the wind among the leaves, and through rifts in emerald seen, the evening sky, God's canopy of blue sheltering our lives, and the birds crying for heart's happiness, winged poets of our solitary reign, our friends on earth, where we are king and queen. And then again, she has an interesting close to this statement. Only our souls have left death's night behind, changed by a mighty dream's reality, illumined by the light of symbol worlds and the stupendous summit self of things, and stood at Godhead's gates, limitless, free. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, what line. Can you just read the whole line? Yeah, well, they've gone through that experience, no? They left death behind. She conquered death. His body was eaten by light. And then they went into this heaven, and they stood at the summit of things. I mean, they were at the summit of the creation, at Godhead's gates, limitless and free. So that's part of the experience that they went through together. She's just telling that. But they have been changed by that experience, changed by a mighty dream's reality. It was like a dream, but it was a true dream. It was a soul experience, which was illumined by the light of symbol worlds. And that's interesting that, I mean, there's this kind of double meaning. I mean, it's kind of a dream reality, and the worlds are symbol worlds. So it's always, a kind of a mixture of this reality and dream. But it's something real. It's a inner experience, I guess, that they've gone through. It seems like a dream, but it's true. And it has its effect. For they are now back on earth, and he's back in his body alive. Right. Yeah, they had done that, right? She had conquered death in death's realm, and then they entered into this heaven of, and spoke with this Godhead in that supreme heaven. So let's continue. Okay, Margaret.
Then, filled the glory of their happiness, they rose and with safe clinging fingers locked, hung on each other in a silent look. And a new flame of worship in his eyes. What high change is in thee, O Savitri, bright ever thou wast, a goddess still and pure, yet dearer to me by thy sweet human parts. Earth gave thee, making thee yet more divine. My adoration mastered, my desire bent down to make its subject, my daring clasp, claiming by body and soul my life's estate, rapture's possession, love's sweet property, a statue of silence in my templed spirit, a yearning Godhead and a golden bride.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So they had been sitting or lying on the forest floor, and now they rise and hold hands. They rose and with safe clinging fingers locked, hung on each other in a silent look. So they rise and look into each other's eyes. And then he recognizes some change in Savitri, but he, with a new wonder in his heart and a new flame of worship in his eyes, what high change is in thee, O Savitri? So he sees some change in her, and this kind of deeper love and worship rises. And then he says, bright ever thou wast, a goddess still and pure. So he's describing what he had been to him, what she had been to him earlier. And then, and continuing, yet dearer to me by thy sweet human parts, earth gave thee, making thee yet more divine. So he's telling how she was before, she was even divine to him then, but yet with her human aspect, even more sweet, more divine, that he could embrace her physically. And then he says, my adoration mastered, my desire bent down to make its subject. Yeah, so it's a kind of a strange line, but it suggests that his adoration of her was mastering, and his desire bent down subject to that adoration, bent down like a subject, like a subordinate to his adoration, or to, his adoration. Then my daring clasped, claiming by body and soul my life's estate, rapture's possession, love's sweet property, a statue of silence in my templed spirit, a yearning Godhead, and a golden bride. So she was both of those things to him, like a statue, like a divine being, but yet also human, and his bride, his wife.
I think that the temple spirit is strong.
What?
Temple spirit
Is?
is a strong association.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very. Yeah, it's a beautiful line. A statue of silence in my templed spirit. So she was there in his spirit, like a statue in a temple. Let's continue. But now,
thou seems almost too high and great for mortal worship. Time lies below thy feet, and the whole world seems only a part of thee. Thy presence, the hushed heaven I inhabit, and thou lookest on me in the gaze of the stars. Yet art the earthly keeper of my soul, my life a whisper of thy dreaming thoughts, my morns a gleaming of thy spirit's wings, and day and night are of thy beauty part. Hast thou not taken my heart to treasure it in the secure environment of thy breast? Awakened from the silence and the sleep, I have consented for thy sake to be. By thee I have greatened my mortal arc of life. But now far heavens, unmapped infinitudes, thou hast brought me, thy illimitable gift. If to fill these thou lift thy sacred flight, my human earth will still demand thy bliss. Make still my life through thee a song of joy, and all my silence wide and deep with thee.
thank you. So he had been describing what Savitri was to him earlier, before this experience that they've gone through of death, and all of that took place. And then now he kind of contrasts that or adds to that and says, "But now thou seemest almost too high and great for mortal worship." So she's even, whereas his soul kind of bent down in adoration before, now she seems almost too great for mortal worship. And time lies below thy feet, and the whole world seems only a part of thee. Thy presence, the hushed heaven I inhabit, and thou lookest on me in the gaze of the stars, yet art the earthly keeper of my soul. So even though she seems to be looking down at him from the stars, yet she still is the possessor of her soul, of his soul. And my life, a whisper of thy dreaming thoughts, my morns, a gleaming of thy spirit's wings. All his life is just something, some aspect of her. And day and night are of thy beauty part. And then he asks the question, hast thou not taken my heart to treasure it in the secure environment of thy breast? In these lines and the next that come, there seems to be some kind of a deeper significance of this kind of symbolic relation of Savitri and Satyavan, of the soul and the divine mother or divine nature. Hast thou not taken my heart to treasure it in the secure environment of thy breast? There it's maybe not so clear, but if you would like substitute soul for heart, you would you could take that deeper meaning that she's taken his soul to treasure it in her embrace, the embrace of nature. And then he says, awakened from the silence and the sleep, I have consented for thy sake to be. For Savitri's sake. But again, especially this line, it almost suggests like the transcendent being, the supreme being, has come down and consented to be manifest. This is what I'm suggesting. There's a kind of maybe a deeper symbolic meaning to these lines. Awakened from the silence and the sleep, as if from the transcendent oneness, unmanifest, I have consented for thy sake to be. By thee I have greatened my mortal arc of life. Of course, we can take it in the simple significance of his life now has been extended by her. But if we look at it in a kind of symbolic sense, also the Supreme Being's existence has been greatened by nature and by the manifestation. But now far heavens, unmapped infinitudes, thou hast brought me, thy illimitable gift. So now she has brought something more back from this experience in death, a divine, perhaps a divine life, unmapped infinitudes. She has brought thy illimitable gift. If to fill these thou lift thy sacred flight, my human earth will still demand thy bliss. Make still my life through thee a song of joy, and all my silence wide and deep with thee. So it suggests even if she brings this kind of divine life, divine experience, still he wants it brought down on earth and fulfilled in life, in manifested, earthly life, to make it a song of joy. And now she replies, we continue. A heavenly queen. Oh. A heavenly queen consenting to his will.
Yeah. And all,
No, a heavenly queen.
Page 219. That's it, 119.
yeah, thank you. A heavenly queen consenting to his will. He charged her feet by her enshrining her, enlarged in a velvet cloak of love, and answered softly like a murmuring lute. All now is changed, yet all is still the same. Lo, we have hooked upon his face of God. Our life is open with this divinity. We have borne its identity with the Supreme and known his meaning in our mortal lives. Our love, his growth greater by the mighty touch, and learn us heavenly significance. Yet nothing is lost of mortal love's delight. Heaven's touch fulfills but cancels, not our earth. Our bodies need each other in the same lust. Who still in one breast repeat heavenly secret rhyme. Our human heart beats passionately down. I prefer to stop because I don't see well.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay,
Yes?
we can stop there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. No, so we'll just stop and pause for a minute. So first we get this beautiful image of Savitri kind of bowing down at his feet with her hair flowing down, enveloping his feet in a velvet cloak of love. And answered softly, like a murmuring lute, she says, all now is changed, yet all is still the same. So it's I think, a profound line in some way, but very simply put, their life has been transformed, but it's still, the life, the physical life is still there. The physical love is still there. Lo, we have looked upon the face of God. Our life has opened with divinity. We have borne identity with the Supreme and known his meaning in our mortal lives. Our love has grown greater by that mighty touch and learned its heavenly significance. Yet nothing is lost of mortal love's delight. Heaven's touch fulfills, but cancels not our earth. Now, it's very beautiful, this transformation, this life divine that will come, we could say, will fulfill our existence here. It will not cancel it. All that we have now, all the delight, all the beauty, all these, wonderful things of existence will just be brought to a higher pitch, a deeper delight, a greater love, a more beautiful existence. It will not abolish anything. Our bodies need each other in the same last. Still in our breasts repeat heavenly secret rhythm, our human heartbeats passionately close. That physical rhythm of the heartbeats, of the breathing, all of that is still there, but filled with significance, as if it's rhythms of,
What is the last?
Yeah, well, it's a curious line. The way I take it is in the end. Huh? Till the last. Yeah, till kind of the end of things. At the end of things, we still need each other. Something like that. Okay, so we'll continue. Helmut. So,
still, I am she who came to thee mid the murmur of sunlit leaves upon this forest's verge. I am the Madren, I am Savitri. All that I was before, I am to thee still. close comrade of thy thoughts and hopes and toils. All happy contraries I would join for thee. All sweet relations marry in our life. I am thy kingdom, even as thou art mine, the sovereign and the slave of thy desire, thy prone possessor, sister of thy soul, and mother of thy wants. Thou art my world, the earth I need, the heaven my thoughts desire, the world I inhabit, and the God I adore. Thy body is my body's counterpart, whose every limb may answering limb desires, whose heart is key to all my heartbeats. This I am, and thou to me, O Satya. Our wedded waltz through life begins anew. Our wedded walk through life begins anew. No gladness lost, no depth of mortal joy. Let us go through this new world that is the same, for it is given back, but it is known a playing ground and dwelling house of God, who hides himself in bird and beast and man, sweetly to find himself again by love, by oneness. His presence leads the rhythms of life that seek for mutual joy in spite of pain.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So she is reiterating this idea that all is changed and yet all is the same. All that I was before, I am to thee still. And then she elaborates, close comrade of thy thoughts and hopes and toils. All happy contraries I would join for thee. All sweet relations marry in our life. She will bring together all contrary things. She will bring harmony to all the different aspects of his life, bring them into harmony, join them.
What is your madran?
Madran, that's where she's from. That's the place she is from. She's the Madran. That's it. And then she says, the sovereign and the slave of thy desire. Again, there's this kind of interesting juxtaposition of these kind of two opposite things. She's kind of the queen and also the slave. There was that earlier line when the Godhead was speaking to her and says something that he would make her, I don't know if she said or he said that she would be God's slave or something in the world, doing his work. It was something like the supreme form of love and self-giving in a sense, to be the slave of God. To do whatever is necessary for him. Thy prone possessor, sister of thy soul, and mother of thy wants. Thou art my world, the earth I need, the heaven my thoughts desire. The world I inhabit and the God I adore. She's saying he represents all of those things to her. Thy body is my body's counterpart, whose every limb my answering limb desires, whose heart is key to all my heartbeats. This I am, and thou to me, O Satchivan. So she's also just saying that she is still his wife here on the earth, despite all this change, despite recognizing their identity with God, that God is there in all around, but in each other, for each other, enjoying that relation of love. The sister of thy soul. Which? Yeah, it's again this kind of juxtaposition of the two different aspects of the relation. Prone means lying down before. So it's almost like it brings to mind the idea of the slave also is subject, but also possessor at the same time. So there's these two different aspects. This.
It's actually a contradiction.
Yeah, it's a contradiction, but it's more than just a kind of a poetic thing. It represents some. But I think it also represents, like, in a way, what the life divine is when one becomes, at the summit of one's evolution, let's say. One becomes the slave of God. One becomes prone before God. But still one is kind of master of existence. One has...
Perhaps through being the slave, one becomes the other, and therefore identity becomes also the sovereign.
Exactly. Right. It's through that complete self-giving that one identifies with the Supreme Being and becomes sovereign, becomes the divine. Yeah, there's a kind of equality. But also then that idea of soul and nature, they always go together, right? She represents the nature side, he represents the soul side. But they need each other. She gives manifestation to the divine being. So then our wedded walk through life begins anew. No gladness lost, no depth of mortal joy. Let us go through this new world that is the same, for it is given back, but it is known, a playing ground and dwelling house of God, who hides himself in bird and beast and man, sweetly to find himself again by love, by oneness. His presence leads the rhythms of life that seek for mutual joy in spite of pain. So it suggests the meaning of life, the purpose of life, and also the fulfillment in the divine life when it is known, when it is understood truly in its divine sense. It is seen as a playing ground and dwelling house of God, and that God is there, hiding himself in bird and beast and man. He is in all things. He is in each other, man and woman, who still enjoy and love one another, finding through that love union with the divine. So let's continue.
We have each other found, O Satyavan, in the great light of the discovered soul. Let us go back, for Eve is in the skies. Now grief is dead, and serene bliss remains, the heart of all our days forevermore. Lo, all these beings in this wonderful world, let us give joy to all, for joy is ours. For not for ourselves alone our spirits came out of the veil of the unmanifest, out of the deep, immense, unknowable, upon the ignorant breast of dubious earth, into the ways of laboring, seeking men, two fires that burn towards that parent sun, two rays that travel to the original light, to lead man's soul towards truth and God we are born, to draw the checkered scheme of mortal life into some semblance of the immortal's plan, to shape it closer to an image of God, a little nearer to the idea divine.
Thank you. Let's pause. So this first sentence again kind of restates the change that they have undergone, even though things remain in a sense the same. We have each other found, O Satyavan, in the great light of the discovered soul. So that's the change. They've kind of rediscovered each other in the light of the soul. And then she says, let us go back, for Eve is in the skies. Now grief is dead. And serene bliss remains, the heart of all our days forevermore.
Eve here is using the sense of
Evening.
evening.
The evening is coming. Sun is going down. It's becoming dark. So she says, we should go back. This serene bliss remains something of like a quiet ananda of delight, will be the heart of their life forevermore. Well, yeah, she was experiencing all of this grief with the foreknowledge of Satyavan's death approaching, and then they went through all of that darkness of death also. So for them now, they've left that all behind. And there is only this serene joy. And then she looks out at the world. Lo, all these beings in this wonderful world, let us give joy to all, for joy is ours. So that's also, I think, something of the purpose or the nature of the divine life to come. It's to give joy, to give love to all those around one. For not for ourselves alone our spirits came out of the veil of the unmanifest, out of the deep, immense, unknowable, upon the ignorant breast of dubious earth, into the ways of laboring, seeking men. So it wasn't just for themselves that they had come down into the world, out of the divine existence. They also had a purpose to uplift mankind towards the divine. And then again, she's describing what they represent, two fires that burn towards that parent sun, two rays that travel to the original light. They have come from that sun, from that original light down onto the earth and point the way back to that. To lead man's soul towards truth and God, we are born. Yeah, the spirit is there in matter as well. But the spirit in the world, at least in the ignorant world, is obscured. And so they are helping to lead it back to its original source. Yeah, the parent sun is the original divine. Sun is representative of the divine. Or the divine light. Excuse me? The parent. Well, it's the parent sun because it's the source. It's where all the manifestation has issued forth from. We can think of the oneness of the original light, and then it pours down these rays, these individual souls down into towards the earth. You know? And then they find their way back. So like that, it's the source of those rays. And then to draw this checkered scheme of mortal life. This checkered means it's like a checkerboard. It has its kind of black and red or black and white squares. You know, it has a combination of light and darkness. So that's our mortal life at present. But to draw that into some semblance, some representation, some image of the immortals' plan. So instead of these kind of stark opposites of light and darkness, to draw them into a harmony that will resemble the immortals' original plan for the earth, to harmonize these opposites, to shape it closer to an image of God, a little nearer to the idea divine. In a sense that bringing together, drawing together that checkered scheme, that's that whole process of integration, the integral yoga, bringing the divinity into the earth nature, transforming it. Yeah, this idea divine. We can think of kind of there's something in the supreme existence, a creation, a manifestation, of which our world is kind of a flawed representation, or kind of blurred, or so we have to kind of clarify it so that we can unite with that idea of our life that is there in the supreme existence. There it's transformed, there it's harmonized, there it's divinized. But here, it's a kind of a broken reflection of that. And so, because it's a broken reflection, it's like a checkered scheme. So we can read one more, I think.
She closed her arms about his breast and head, as if to keep him on her bosom worn forever through the journeying of the years. So for a while there stood entwined their kiss and passion-tranced embrace, a meeting point in their commingling spirits, one forever, two-souled, two-bodied for the joys of time. Then, hand in hand, they left the somnolent place, full now of mute, unusual memories, to the green distance of their sylvan home, returning slowly through the forest's heart. Round them, the afternoon to evening changed. Light slipped down to the brightly sleeping birds, and the birds came back, winging to their nests, and day and night leaned to each other's arms. Now the dust-shadowed trees stood close around, like dreaming spirits, and delaying night. The grey-eyed pensive evening heard their steps, and from all points the cries and movements came of the four-footed wanderers of the night approaching. Then a human room arose, long alien to their solitary days, invading the charmed wilderness of leaves, once sacred to secluded loneliness, with violent breaking of its virgin sleep.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So first we have this beautiful image of them embracing each other. She closed her arms about his breast and head, as if to keep him on her bosom, worn forever through the journeying of the years. So for a while they stood entwined, their kiss and passion-tranced embrace, a meeting point in their commingling spirits, one forever. Two-souled, two-bodied, for the joys of time. Commingling, it's coming together like waters from like maybe two different streams might commingle together, so they mix together. But I mean, first there's just the beautiful image of them embracing one another, but then that embrace is as if symbolic of their spirits joined together. Two-souled, two-bodied, for the joys of time. Again, it kind of goes back to that whole idea of the purpose of the manifestation of the soul entering into nature to enjoy that multiplicity of existence through love and beauty and enjoyment. And then, hand in hand, they left that solemn place, full now of mute, unusual memories, to the green distance of their sylvan home. So they begin walking back towards the hermitage, returning slowly through the forest's heart. And as they move through the forest, round them the afternoon to evening changed. The darkness is coming, light slipped down to the brightly sleeping verge. And the birds came back winging to their nests, and day and night leaned to each other's arms. So this also is kind of symbolic, has this kind of deeper significance of this day and night lean to each other's arms. Ultimately, the light and the darkness are one, and they move into each other. The night turns to day, becomes divine, and the day leans towards the earth, towards manifestation, towards physicality and form. So the day and night kind of represent these two aspects of existence. And then now the dusk, shadowy trees stood close around like dreaming spirits, and delaying night The gray-eyed, pensive evening heard their steps. So the evening is the gray-eyed, pensive evening. It's still kind of holding off the night, the darkness. It's pensive, it's kind of solemn and musing, quiet, as if thinking. And from all points the cries and movements came of the four-footed wanderers of the night approaching. They hear the animals around them in the night, perhaps going back to their holes, to their place of rest. And then a human rumor rose, kind of a commotion, a sound, long alien to their solitary days, invading the charmed wilderness of leaves, once sacred to secluded loneliness, with violent breaking of its virgin sleep. So they hear this commotion of human voices, human sounds, breaking the silence of the forest, perhaps breaking of branches around them. That will continue in the next, and we'll see what that is, the approach of human feet approaching them. But we'll stop there, I think, for today.
Then, hand in hand, they left that solemn place, full now of mute, unusual memory, to the green distance of their sylvan home, returning slowly through the forest's heart. Topped by a flaring multitude of lights, a great resplendent company arrived. In front, King Dharmatsena walked, no more blind, faltering limbed, but his far-questing eyes restored to all their confidence in life, took seeingly this image outer world by him, that Queen and Mother's anxious face, came changed from its habitual burdened look.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.